Hiya, it's Morag from Northwest Numbers Limited, and I'm doing my live from the car yet again. I've been told that I talk a lot, so I'm gonna have a go at basically launching this new service where I'm going to call it 3 minutes with Morag. So here's hoping that I can manage to keep to script. Okay, so the topic I decided to talk to you about today was to do with tax returns. So the main tax returns that we deal with are I'll start with corporation tax. So corporation tax, their deadline is, so basically you do a corporation tax if you're a limited company, and the deadline for that is 9 months and 1 day after the end of your financial period, which isn't always a year, obviously, which is why I've said period rather than year. So that's the only thing I'm going to say about corporation tax today, because I want to actually concentrate on self-assessment tax returns. Okay, so we all know that the deadline for self-assessment tax returns is the 31st of January, following the end of the April tax year. So April, 5th of April 2020, you will be liable to put in your return and pay your bill by 31st of January 2021. You can put in, especially if you're doing it by paper, but you can also put in your tax information by the 31st of October, which will make sure that the Inland Revenue themselves will actually calculate your tax return, will actually calculate your tax figure for you. But online, and the ultimate deadline is the 31st of January. Now, if you don't hit that deadline, there are penalties involved. So you have to put the self-assessment in if you have earned anything more than £1,000 within the tax year. So that would be between the 6th of April of one year and the 5th of April of the following year. If you have earned more than £1,000, then you are due to put a self-assessment return in. If you don't put an assessment in, there's a minimum of £100 penalty on that. So, tips. Right. Big tip is, before you get anywhere near the deadline, make sure that you are actually registered with HMRC, because it will take a while for them to eventually send you out an activation code. When you've then got that activation code, you have to go online and actually activate the service. All of that can take time, and if you leave that to the last minute, it could cause you a problem and you might miss your deadline. I mean, obviously, if you have forgotten to do that and you haven't actually registered, then you can actually contact an HMRC, the HMRC, and they can help file it for you. But the best way is to actually make sure that you've got all of your dots your I's and cross your T's before then, and make sure that you're totally registered with them. Okay, so it's a very good idea, as I have already stated, do not ignore the deadline, because there is no way around it. It's not like you can have an excuse for it. You can, if you do miss it, you can give them a call and ask their advice, and if they're in a really good mood, they might be nice to you, but don't guarantee it. Okay, so make sure that you include every single piece of income that you have had. So don't forget the little eBay sales, or you've been selling teddy bears, or any of the little things. Make sure you put everything in them. Okay, what's a good idea, and what I do myself, is I put money aside during the year in a separate savings account so that I know that it's away from my normal money, and I put it aside specifically for paying my tax at the end of the year. I do that even when I'm being paid, you know, like when I'm doing my own company, if I do PAYE through my own company, I put the tax aside to make sure that it's there, because the worst thing possible is to get to the time where you have to pay it and you've got no money to pay it. Okay, if you've ever made mistakes in the past, make sure you learn by them. So what I mean by that is, make sure that you keep all of your receipts, everything, even the like handwritten things that you get from like market stalls, etc. Keep everything. Make sure that you keep a log of all the expenses and all the sales. Everything needs to be written down. Make sure you've got it all written down. That way you will not forget to put anything in, and that's the way you make sure everything is there. Okay, to be honest, all of that is fairly self-explanatory, but to be honest, if you want to be absolutely certain of making sure that you reduce your tax bill as much as possible, the best solution is to hire an accountant. They will know all of the little kind of allowances and deductions that can help you reduce your tax figures. They'll know what kind of capital allowances, etc. they can put through. They'll know whether or not you can put a percentage of your utility bills through and help reduce your tax figures. So I hope that's given a little bit of a help. I will no doubt at some point provide there'll be a PDF out with all of that information and more, but I don't think I've quite stuck to the 3 minutes. I apologise for that, but hopefully that's been helpful, and I will talk to you on Thursday. Take care. Bye.